when I got pregnant with my first born, I researched everything. And I kept, coming across the importance of breastfeeding. And so I knew that I wanted to breastfeed my son, but I just kept learning so much about it that it almost became an obsession. How long does everybody advise breastfeeding for? How long has your mother breastfed? How long did your grandmother? Why are more people breastfeeding? And I started asking myself more questions, and I was like, okay, this is just generally very interesting.
Mom, yeah. Do you know we can take a picture of you on your hair?
Do it. Put it in my hair. That is so pretty. Thank you so much. Once my son came, it was certainly not something that the research could get you through. You really do realize that you're learning with your child how to go through this feeding process. And I remember, in the hospital, everything was perfect. Oh, you have such a perfect latch. Oh, everything is great. Then you get home and you don't have the nurses there cheering you on, and you don't have and you're like, oh my gosh, am I doing it right? It doesn't look like his mouth is open wide enough. It doesn't look like he's, swallowing. Is that a feeding cue? You challenge everything. And so I had to actually go back to the hospital 2 weeks later to make sure that I was getting the latch right. But that was the start of what has been basically a 5-year journey for me between my three children. And it has had some really beautiful moments and some sleepless moments and some, crazy moments. But it's something that I am incredibly passionate about. I believe in allowing my children to self-wean. So we've had, one of my children nursed for 4 years, one for 2.5. This little baby is just on, we're seeing what happens with the little one. I was in a situation where I was tandem nursing it, which I think was the most beautiful situation, because when my second born was born, there are moments where my 2 sons would just be holding hands while they were nursing. And so they talk about the bonding between mother and child, but also between the brothers during those moments. And that was very beautiful for me. But also just knowing that I can do something like nourish my children for, 6 months. I am all my children need. I think that that's a very powerful message in terms of just being a woman, going through the whole childbirth, developing a child within you, and then sustaining that child for 6 months before they even need any outside intervention. I think that's something very powerful and speaks to the strength of women. And so I guess my message to women is that remember, you are enough. Mm-hmm. Your body is created to produce milk for your children, no matter what people say. It is terrible the first 2 weeks, but think about all that you have accomplished up to that point in terms of creating a person, delivering that person into the world, and now just another 2-3 weeks of struggling in terms of the pain and getting the right latch and everything, and then you're really set up for success. So I would say remember, you're enough. Mm-hmm. And God has created you to be able to make this milk. Mm-hmm. And so
can we get
no more.
Only one more for your hand.
You want to go for me, I prioritize breastfeeding. Okay. And I, so whether that means bringing my child with me, before COVID, my kids came everywhere with me so that they wouldn't have to miss a feed and I wouldn't really miss a beat. So I would breastfeed in public, just like I have to eat, my kids have to eat. And so we would be grocery shopping, and if my kid seems hungry, I would sit in an aisle and breastfeed, I think the most important thing is being around people who are supportive and who believe in breastfeeding. I think that makes a big difference, being able to get that support.
More flowers. I am so lucky. Thank you.
It's for your hair.
More in my hair?
Yeah.
So the first thing that I would say is relax. God made you to produce milk. And the idea that you don't have enough milk is often something that's made within you. And so the important thing to remember is that when babies are first born, they don't need that much milk. And to give yourself some grace. And remember that milk is supply and demand. So the more that you bring your baby to the breast and allow them to at least try to suckle and latch, your body knows what it's doing and it will start to produce more milk and, you know, more than enough milk.
Flour? I want to see something.
I think that if there are if you really believe that there are challenges in the breastfeeding journey, the first thing is stay calm. Stress definitely reduces your production of milk, and seek guidance. There are, you know, lactation consultants in hospitals. So if where you delivered provides those services, you know, there are groups online that you can. So seek guidance. Don't just make an assumption. Oh, my baby always is hungry. Well, is your baby always hungry? Because babies cry for other reasons than being hungry. You know, how do you know that your baby is hungry? Is your baby really losing weight? Is there really a problem, or are you creating a problem in your head because of old wives' tales, of pressure, of, you know, all of this outside energy? And to that point, you know, my firstborn is just a little guy. He has a lot of energy and he has almost never been on the weight scale. And I'm really lucky in that my pediatrician is an advocate for breastfeeding and understands that sometimes breastfed babies are a bit smaller because of the body's efficiency in processing breast milk, because it's literally made for the child. It's like a special formula. But you know, he never scared me. We knew, okay, to look out for things, see if there is a cause, to understand what the threshold is. So we're not saying ignore it, but my son was never underweight. He was never malnourished. He was just a little guy who doesn't like, and he's still underweight, and he's like super smart, really athletic, like doing great at age 5. So don't let outside forces make you feel like you're not good enough. If in doubt, if your gut is telling you that there's a problem, seek medical attention. Make sure that it's not. But if auntie is just saying, "Oh, the baby is hungry, put cereal in, start feeding it cereal," don't do that.